usually think the problem is the gap between who I am and who I pretend to be, the gap between my public life and my private reality. But what if the gap is not the problem? What if the real danger starts when we learn to manage the gap? Welcome to the Sebcast, home of the #1 network for your life. Here we turn our beloved stories upside down, look at what history may have missed, and discover together how Jesus invites us into a bigger story right where we live, work, and play. What if people don't stumble because they have a gap, but because they become too good at managing it? The Bible gives us a story that shows this uncomfortably honestly. It's the story of Peter, not during his success, but during his weakest moment. Peter said to Jesus, "Even if everyone denies you, I never will." It's not a lie, it's an overestimation. Peter really meant it, but he didn't understand himself yet. And a few hours later, by a fire, he managed the gap, not with a big sin, but with small denials. I don't know him. I don't know what you're talking about. It's not me, 3 times, not to hurt Jesus, but to keep himself safe. Notice what happens. Peter didn't immediately become someone else. He became someone he tried to manage. And that's the point. The moment you no longer ask, "How do I make this right?" but start asking, "How do I keep this away from people's eyes?" then you shift from restoration to damage control. Here's the truth no one likes to hear. Damage control keeps you functional, but it makes you unfree. It lets you keep working. It lets you keep serving. It lets you keep smiling. But it steals something else, your integrity, your peace, your ability to be fully present. The gap doesn't get smaller. You just get better at hiding it. That's why Jesus didn't push Peter away after his fall. He could have excluded him. He could have chosen someone else. But Jesus did something else. After the resurrection, he took Peter back to a fire, not to humiliate him, but to close the gap. 3 questions, 3 affirmations, 3 moments of restoration. Not, "Why did you do it?" but, "Do you love me?" Because Jesus knows the problem was never just the denial. The problem was a soul trying to survive without help. And here it gets very practical for us. The #1 network for your life is not a place where people have no gaps. It's a place where gaps don't have to be managed, where you don't have to pretend, where you don't have to have everything right, where honesty comes faster than damage control. Because here's the simple rule of sustainable faith. Everything you manage keeps power over you. Everything you confess loses power over you. Double lives don't survive honesty, but honesty doesn't survive isolation. That's why we need each other, not just for support, but for truth. The question is not whether you have a gap, everyone does. The question is, are you managing it or are you closing it? Because damage control keeps you going, but truth sets you free, and free people can finally rest. Come walk with us this year at Southward. Don't isolate and go through another apathetic year. Before long, you'll start living completely without God. Maybe this year is your last chance before you fall completely off the edge. Join and show up and protect your soul with us. See you tomorrow. Take care.